God's move is coming. I believe that this is the hour of God's choosing. Not the hour of man, but the hour in which the decree from heaven has literally come to the earth. I'm convinced that the decree has come to many places in this nation and in this world. It's as certain as the dawn. It's as certain as the rising of the sun, His move in these last days. Okay, now I want to share with you what happened to me the other night. I was praying, and the Lord spoke to me, not a prompting, not an impression, not a mental idea. The voice of the living God came to me crystal clear. I heard the words, I heard the mood, I heard the syllables, I heard everything. He said to me, He said, prophesy to the city. I mean, I've never done that thing in my life. I said, it was so clear though, crystal clear, the voice of God. I raised my voice, not on the microphone. I set my microphone down because I was praying. We had a group of people. We meet every night from 7 to 10 in intercession. We have for the last 4 or 5 months every single night. Because that's what the Lord told us to do when we first came here. We didn't share that with just everybody, but God calls us. We've been a group of people every night for the last 120 days or whatever. From 7 to 10, 3 hours a night. He said, come and gather and I'll tell you what to do in the place of prayer. And so that Wednesday night, the word suddenly comes, the word of the Lord. He said, prophesy to the city. And I instantly knew what I was going to prophesy. I said, O inhabitants of the city, gather unto the Lord your God, for He has proclaimed a solemn assembly. He has gathered His people to pour forth His glory and His power and to show forth His strength in this generation. I just put my head down and went, oh Lord, how will I ever do this? And the Lord said, I want you to raise your voice, blow the trumpet, gather the people for a season of fasting. We're going to meet from 6 in the morning till 12 at night, 18 hours a day. And the Lord said, I will labor to show you. He says, He told me this. He would give 500 people that would be committed to this thing. 500. He says, you simply declare the word and my people will respond. The ones that He has put to hear this thing. 500 members. I said, Lord, how? And He said, my grace. So I go to bed that night and I lay down in bed. And He said this. He says, I'm calling a corporate Daniel to gather from all parts of this city to release this city into the promises of God that I've given many of my prophets. He says, they will be a 21-day solemn assembly. They will be as a Daniel before me for 21 days. And the Babylon in this city will be released. Otherwise, the church would come into its fullness. I went, oh, Lord. I was so awed. This can't be God. A 500-member corporate Daniel will gather into this building. He says, I will gather them together. Then I set the dates. I said, okay, Lord, May 7th to May 28th. That was just clearly the dates the Lord gave me. I don't know why. That was just the dates. And I said, Lord, please confirm this. Lord, I need thy word, Lord. I mean, I know, but I'm just a man. I got clay feet. Lord, please speak another and even a third time, Lord. So I woke up in the morning and I had an urgency. The 2 Corinthians 13:1, everything in fact will be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. I said, Lord, I need 2 or 3 witnesses. I woke up with an urgency to call a brother. Early in the morning, I called him. I said, brother, I said, I got something wild to tell you. Frighteningly, scary, holy. He says, good, because I have something to tell you. I said, okay, and I got right in my car and drove 35 minutes to his house. I walked in his house. He said, let me tell you first, then you tell me. I said, okay. He goes, Tuesday morning, I had a vision. The greatest visions of his life, I'm sure. He says, you won't believe who spoke to me. On the way out, there was 2 brothers here, and I said, would you 2 brothers come with me? I need witnesses to what's going to happen, because I got a real sneaky suspicion something's going to happen. They said, what do you mean? I said, just get in the car, and I explained on the way over there, and they were just... I said, God gave me Daniel 9, Gabriel coming. I said, He gave me the dates. The last day would be May 27th, would be the 21st day. Would end at the late after 6 o'clock on the 28th. We got out of the car. He says, I had a dream. You won't believe what happened. And I was thinking, Lord, I hope He doesn't say it. I mean, I really wanted him to, but I didn't want him to. He says, Gabriel appeared to me in a dream. He gave me Daniel chapter 9. I went, I was trying not to show anything. I wanted poker face so I could hear it all. The 2 guys did not smile, did not say, praise God. Their faces were white. They went, He said that within 3 days it would be sealed and confirmed, and then within 3 years the baby that would be born would be a mature baby, a young man. In other words, the revival would be in full scale within 3 years. He said the Lord gave us for the birthing of this baby May 27th. I said, oh no. I mean, I love it, but I'm scared. I mean, I'm scared. That's the facts. The confession or no confession, I'm scared to death right now. I really mean that. It's the most sober hour of my life and the life, as far as I'm concerned, of this entire city. So we're driving home in awe, in a sense of awe. God spoke to me to call another person. I mean, an urgency, another woman. I called her. I spoke to her. She says, yeah, the Lord showed me a dream. The child was going to be born at the end of May. She says, yes, it's a sure birthing. It's coming forth at the end of May. The prophet, a bona fide prophet that I will embrace with all of my reputation. There's a brother that lives in Phoenix, Arizona, who is a prophet that I will endorse. He's the only one that I would speak and rest my entire reputation upon him. Before I left, and I had totally forgotten about this, but he called me in the last 2 or 3 days. He's a guy who had never seen me before in my life. Last June, he was at a meeting. He'd never seen me. He called me out the back door. He says, young man back there, stand up. And he, in essence, I'm not telling all the details, prophesied me to leave my church in St. Louis and come to Kansas City immediately. He'd never laid eyes on me before. He said, you back there, you're a servant of the Lord. You're a teacher in the body. God has commissioned you. And he began to tell me things and said, go. That's in essence. That's not word for word by any means. When I first heard him, I thought, who on earth is this guy telling me? I thought, that's a bold statement, you know. Then he left town. Never even got to know the guy. He came back in October. He said, God gave me a vision about the church, that it was going to be starting in Kansas City. And then he said to me, he said, I've got one bad note for you, though, that you won't like, because although I don't know you, I do know you, and you're too impatient to like this. This is October. He says, there will be a withholding from God until the last week of May. Now, that sounds great when you're in April, but when you're in October and the church hadn't started yet, I said, Lord, well, it's not like that. He says, I know, but you have no choice. There will be a withholding to the last week of May. Then God will move in a new way. I saw it in a vision. And I'd totally forgotten that. I told everybody. I hate stuff like that. You know, I hate those kind of prophecies. I like the now ones, you know. He called me up, and I haven't called him back. And I called a guy from St. Louis. I said, what is his name? Is Augustine Acola. He's from Phoenix, Arizona. I said, what does Augustine want? He said, it's going to be in St. Louis at the end of May. And he knows that he's supposed to come and be a part of your church at the end of May. And I said, oh, fine. And then the word of the Lord comes. And he will be here. I've only met him. This is the third time I've ever been with him. But he's never called me ever unless he's had a dream and a vision for the Lord that was so significant that it would change my entire life. So he will be here also at the last day. So what we're going to do? Now to what we're doing. We're calling a 21-day solemn assembly. According to Daniel 9 and Joel 2, fasting and praying 21 days, 18 hours a day to every corner of this city we're calling. We're blowing the trumpet in Zion. Come, this is the hour that God will visit. At the end of this 21 days, I am saying this with every ounce of my reputation on this. If I am wrong, as a young man, I am ruining my future with what I'm going to say. I am risking everything that I have. I am going out to the nth degree on this statement. So my entire future is based upon this statement. God will move in a new way in this city at the end of that 21 days. The full-grown child won't be but for 3 years, but the baby will be born. Dreams and visions will begin to come. The spirit of prayer will begin to fall. Prayer groups will gather everywhere. Supernatural wisdom will come all over the city. Signs and wonders will begin. They will be small at the beginning. People will begin to be saved at a much higher rate. It will be small. But it will begin, it will increase and increase. I mean, within a 3-year period, I don't know this, but according to which I believe, it will be a mature man. A mature young man, a strong young man, the young child that will be born. That God is turning, heaven is turning a new chapter over starting May 27th in the city. From heaven. It's not if we respond. He already told me 500 would.